Hi, everyone. This is Rosemary Coates in Silicon Valley. I'm your host for this edition of the Frictionless Supply Chain podcast. I'm the executive director of the Reshoring Institute, where we help companies bring back or expand their manufacturing in the U.S. And I'm a contributing writer to Supply Chain Management Review. Today, I'm delighted to introduce you to Cathy, my old friend, and the Vice President of Integrated Product Solutions at the Association for Manufacturing Technology. AMT offers the manufacturing industry market access and intelligence in manufacturing technology. So let's get started. Welcome, Cathy.
Thank you for having me, Rosemary.
You have such an interesting background in your career and also your international education in Hong Kong and London. Please give us a little short synopsis of your background.
Sure. I grew up in Hong Kong, and since I was little, I was always fascinated by how communities organize themselves in psychology. So I actually became a sociology on trust, and I studied Wikipedia and followed a lot of global Wikipedians to see how they together, known by nobody, build the world's biggest knowledge database. And with that knowledge, I was like, where could I take it? And lucky enough for me, I actually got a Commonwealth scholarship called the Chevening Scholarship. And I moved to London at a tender age of 24. And I was able to really study how cultural and creative industry work together to actually help bring communities and people together. And through a lot of luck and the times of our industry, I was able to join startups like Yahoo and work for a lot of media and global B2B organizations and help them understand the power of three things: content, community, and data. And when you can actually create a harmonized platform to have all three work together, you can actually help make the world a better place. And in the last 5 years, I was lucky enough to work in manufacturing and really have a very interesting perspective, especially through the pandemic, in understanding how the three ingredients I talk about, data, community, and content, can help mobilize the supply chain for good. We did a lot of work, when I was working for two of the largest digital manufacturing marketplaces in mobilizing the sector to really speed up the production of critical components, parts, and PPE. And now I'm at AMT, and they are, like you said, an industry nonprofit that actually had been working in the industry for over 120 years to help power our sector growth. So very happy to be here to talk to you today, as we also bonded over the pandemic and what's not, Rosemary.
Yeah.
Very happy to see you today.
Yes, me too. I know. I've noticed that people started defining their lives pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. It really changed all of us for sure. So tell us a little bit more about the Association for Manufacturing Technology, what you do, what your goals are, and membership and that sort of thing. So it's not a name that I was familiar with, so I'm interested in learning more about it, and I'm sure the audience is too.
Absolutely. And if you look at our economy in the USA today, advanced manufacturing is a very important sector to drive our trade success. AMT is committed to advancing manufacturing technology industry by facilitating transformative technologies adoption across our members. Think about within our supply chain, there are emerging technologies such as additive manufacturing that can really help speed up the research and development and prototyping cycle for even hard to source part and materials, right? Across our members communities, we have many experts in automation, robotic, additive manufacturing, but also really top-notch experts in precision machining. And they are very important aspects in terms of, core industries such as defense, automotive, medical manufacturing. So see us really as the leader in the community that help bring together industry experts across all emerging and established technologies, and that we help industry buyers understand the market, the technologies, and help them connect with the right expert at the right time. I'll add a couple of things also. Within AMT, we are really known for the International Manufacturing Show, IMTS. It's held in Chicago every 2 years. So we have another one coming up in September next year. We have, between 70 to 100,000 participants and across, 1,000 exhibitors. And for supply chain professional or manufacturing technologists, when you go to that show, you truly can physically experience the breadth and depth of manufacturing technologies and see robotic arms, as well as digital twin experience right in front of you. And you get to meet a lot of cutting edge experts as well. And I'll end also by saying that AMT actually has a strong international presence. We have a technology center system where members can actually talk to our leaders across international centers so that they can have immediate access to market intelligence and access at a fraction of how it would normally cost if they try to do it all by themselves. But in short, I want to say AMT is actually full of really good people who care about the industry and creating opportunities for the next generation. So very happy to be here today.
Yeah, I've actually been to that show, and I got to say, it was sort of astonishing. I mean, you walk down the aisles on the exhibit floor, and you see things that you can't imagine. I mean, robotics and all kinds of machine tools and things that were only imagined in the past, and our reality today is really quite interesting and something you don't see all the time. So, it's one of those shows where it's not just a booth with people handing out brochures or whatever. And they actually bring the machine tools there and set them up, and you can see for yourself. It's quite astonishing. So, how is manufacturing technology changing in general? I know reshoring has caused the adoption of a lot more manufacturing technology and automation in order to take the labor costs out of production. So there's a really heavy interest in adopting new technologies. So how has it changed over the past, say, 20 years or so? I mean, what new things are being introduced?
Yeah, I'll start by saying the first keyword here, which is data. Many manufacturers we talk to are at different level of sophistication in the adoption of data. Data is important, in a grand scheme of things, but it's such a broad concept. So where do we even begin? At AMT, I think we noticed that there are a lot more demand for standardization of data across the industry. And at AMT, we actually have something called the MT Connect, which is an open source standard that we support to standardize semantic vocabulary for manufacturing machinery. A lot of time our members and also, when we talk to experts in the industry, the hardest part in creating an efficient supply chain as well as manufacturing operation is not that your machinery can be digitalized or that it can be digitalized to start collecting digital data. The hardest part is actually data normalization and understanding how you can connect different operational components to build a stronger business pictures so that it can help you predict any issues or forecast supply and demand. So two really interesting aspects of it is when our members actually adopt this free open source standard MT Connect, they actually can start collecting data using and established standards through a lot of our own experience and our members' experience. So I'd say first step is actually helping the industry digitalize and organize the data in a way so that it's efficient and usable to help them predict and organize their business.
You
The
you
second,
you hit a hot button for sure. And I think, back 40 or 50 years ago, supply chain was all about getting the boxes off the dock at the end of the day, right? And hopefully getting, all the shipments going in different directions. Today it's all about moving data and where are your goods? How do you trace them? What can you expect? How do you put that into your schedule so that you don't have a shutdown or you don't have a shortage or that kind of thing? It's really really changed. I think the supply chain field is now so heavily invested into data collection and management and making that data usable. That's the hard part, like you said, is,
That's the hard
taking
part.
everything you collect and making it so that you can actually use it. Yeah.
Yeah, and MT Connect is a test, tried and tested standard, and our members actually love it. It really kind of saved that research and development process for them. Like you said, Rosemary, a lot of people immediately jump to, artificial intelligence and generative AIs. They are powerful systems of, modeling and prediction. But if you don't actually have a reliable data set that's organized and normalized, your model is only as good as your data. And being in the industry at the forefront, you and a lot of your contacts would know that 90% of the battle is actually just
Right.
collecting the data and
Right.
cleaning it up in a standard that's usable.
Yeah, that's a really good point. A big distinction between AI, which is sort of forward looking and um, kind of a modeling approach, to data collection, which is the real world, what's actually happening, and what can you evaluate based on what's happening, right? What conclusions can you draw? Yeah,
Yeah,
very interesting distinction.
we talk
Go
about
ahead.
data as a first trend, and I'm also really excited about a second trend, additive manufacturing. It is not a new technology. We know that, many things we touch and feel is powered by subtractive manufacturing, like CNC manufacturing, where you use advanced machines to cut off metals to sculpt apart, right? Additive adds layer to it, also known as 3D printing, where machinery can actually adopt many facets of materials, from plastic to metals, to kind of create a generative sort of version of manufacturing. And usually it really cuts down on the prototyping time. It cuts down on the design time. It allows a lot of effective sort of prototyping. Sometimes we heard about through the pandemic, there are design engineers that got their employers shipping them 3D machines to their home, so that, designer at Facebook Oculus can actually do rapid prototyping at home even. But the part that excites me the most is actually potential, power of additive manufacturing in helping supply chain professional. When I talk to supply chain professionals, when you talk about, how to handle obsolescence of parts and materials, this is a really hot button that can get supply chain professionals excited. When you work in federal procurement, if you're in military or industrial equipment, you understand that today you may buy a machinery for, X number of dollars, but you have to figure out in 20 years time, 50 years time, if the machine is built to last, how are you going to source the parts and components that might not
Right.
exist, right? And certain laws even prohibited government organizations from buying parts before the demand arises. In our industry, we notice that actually for supply chain professionals, additive manufacturing is very important. For example, when we work with executives in procurement and supply chain, as long as they foresee the future needs and they negotiate contract that include the blueprints of the parts and components that they may need in the future, that gives them infinite possibility in future options of just going into digital marketplaces for custom manufacturing. And it opens up so many doors for them to do lean kind of ordering and not worry about having to buy all the parts of a lifetime, and have to deal with all the internal bureaucracy or
Right.
limited budgets.
Keeping all
So
that inventory, yeah, relevant and
exactly.
on, and yeah, in good shape is a really difficult process. I had a occasion to hear a speaker from John Deere just at the start of the pandemic, right in February of 2020, and they were already experiencing part shortages from China. They were sourcing from the automotive areas in Wuhan, and as a result, they had shortages all across their production lines, and so they turned to additive manufacturing, and they were actually manufacturing parts, 3D printing parts for the production line to keep it going because they had shortages. And it was kind of an astonishing story to talk about how they address this serious global supply chain issue, and shortages across the global supply chain. They didn't know when it was going to end, and so they created a 3D printing solution that addressed those issues, and they were able to continue to produce their products on their production lines. So really it's sort of eye-opening kind of application of 3D printing was really important. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
where do you see most activity in technology today? Is there a specific industry or a couple industries where you're seeing a lot of adoption?
Well, we're seeing a lot of interest in cobots, collaborative robots. As you know, a big part of the supply chain is really about moving goods around in an efficient manner. And that also ties to, top tier supply chain when it comes to moving materials to components and product. At IMTS, you will see that there are a lot of innovation around how a warehouse can almost completely automate its inventory system, and also actually bring in robotics to help support the humans working in the warehouse to more efficiently understand their inventory kind of situation in real time. The other aspect of it is there's still like growing demand on reshoring. And we see that a lot of our members are really interested in helping the US as well as our international market counterpart in being more efficient in manufacturing. For example, many people may not know that a lot of advanced machinery actually only use 30 to 40% of the energy for the machining kind of production part. A lot of it is left idle. So we're seeing a lot of kind of impetus in the industry due to the rising cost of energy in trying to push for better efficiency within modern machining stack. And finally, we already talked about the importance of market intelligence. At AMT, we actually run a monthly survey called USMTO, where it helps supply chain professional economists and a lot of industry operational planning professionals understand the future of machine toolings and additive manufacturing. And we actually release a top line report for free every month. So it's called USMTO. So I think combining data and our understanding of energy and additive, there are a lot of really cool innovation. But I'll end by saying that the part that excites me the most is I think people always love to pit generations against one another, but I have a very optimistic view of different generations. I think what unified all generations is this passion for custodianship. I think with COVID-19, it really woke a lot of people up and developed this closer, intimate understanding that, if you don't know how things are made, it's hard for you to make the world a better place. So we're starting to see, teenagers and young individuals getting excited to come to our shows and talk to us. And they want to become industrial designer and engineers because they understand if they are at the forefront of innovation and design, they can choose to make the world a better place by directly contributing to how things are made. So lots of exciting advancement, lots of great philosophical shift, Rosemary.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's so important to get young people excited about it, and you have opportunities to do that with your shows and the work that you're doing. So thank you so much for joining us today, Cathy. It was really interesting to talk to you, and we wish you much success in your new role at AMT. Can you give us your contact information and the website for AMT in case anyone wants to do additional research or reach out to you?
Absolutely. Please reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm Cathy Ma, so CATHYMA. And our website is amtonline.org. And also our show is imts.com. Feel free to reach out. I always love to connect with supply chain professionals and learn from all of you. It will help us better serve the industry better in the future.
Thank you. And you can listen to more Frictionless Supply Chain podcasts posted on Supply Chain Management Review's landing page, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can reach me, Rosemary Coates, at rcoates@reshoringinstitute.org, and visit our website at www.reshoringinstitute.org, where we publish all of our research on manufacturing in America. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.